Dr. Riek Machar is safe where he is. The fighting is not close to where he is. The fighting is far from where he is located currently. So he is very safe. Fighting has continued because from the 8th of July, when President Salva Kiir's border guards started shooting at the border guards of the first vice president, a number of people were killed, a lot of them, in hundreds. On our part, we lost 37. On their part, they lost over 100, I understand, including a number of civilians killed in crossfire. President Salva Kiir's border guards started shooting at the border guards of Dr. Riek Machar. And this was when Dr. Riek Machar was in a meeting with President Salva Kiir inside a room in the palace. Then fighting erupted outside the palace. What we suspected was that they wanted to scare Machar, maybe to run away from the palace when the fighting erupted outside the palace and his border guards were being killed. So that Salva Kiir forces who were deployed on the streets in Juba could kill Dr. Riek Machar, and President Salva Kiir would have claimed that he was killed in crossfire because he said he did not know what happened outside his palace. This was the plan, to scare him and kill him outside the palace, and he would have said that he was killed, his deputy was killed in crossfire, and he did not know who was fighting who and who started the fighting, but his deputy was killed. So this was the plan. So what they are doing now, why the fighting is continuing, is to try to locate him and kill him. This is what is going on. And the appointment of Taban Dengai is part of the conspiracy. President Salva Kiir does not want Dr. Riek Machar as his deputy because Dr. Riek Machar wants the peace agreement to be implemented in full, which President Salva Kiir didn't want. He made a conspiracy with Taban Dengai, who was number 4 in the hierarchy of the SPLM-IO leadership, to take over from Dr. Riek Machar so that the two could now dismantle, scrap the provisions of the peace agreement that they do not like. So this is the reason. And when we knew about this, Dr. Riek Machar took action in the bushes. He dismissed Taban Dengai from the membership of the SPLM-IO because he knew that he had defected to President Salva Kiir and had this conspiracy. If the region can intervene, deploy a third-party force in Juba to take charge of the security in Juba, to protect the leaderships of the government led by Salva Kiir and the opposition led by Machar, and then now tell the two leaders to sit and continue with the implementation of the peace agreement, being closely monitored by the region and the United Nations. This would force the two leaders, and particularly President Salva Kiir, who was reluctant, it would force him to implement the peace agreement, and we may see peace. Otherwise, the other option is to remove President Salva Kiir, because he has been a failure. He has been in power for over 10 years now in South Sudan. And what we have seen during his leadership is fighting after fighting after fighting. This is what we are seeing in that country. As long as President Salva Kiir is the leader of that country, we will never see peace in South Sudan. If the regional force or third-party force is not going to be deployed soon in Juba to separate the two forces, to stop President Salva Kiir's forces from going on offensive against Dr. Riek Machar forces in the bushes around Juba, then we will be forced to move on Juba and take control of Juba so that we dismantle the source of such orders to attack, so that we restore peace and peace and stability in Juba, in the heart of the city itself.